It's a great day as Haute Living is doing a webinar with Vasco Borges, developer, over 20 years of experience. Are you today in Turks and Caicos, or where are
I
you
am.
today?
Yes, I'm here in Turks and Caicos.
And how's the weather?
You don't want to know. It's always beautiful here.
Well, we're in Miami, so we have beautiful weather, but not as beautiful as Turks and Caicos.
True, true. Yeah, we're lucky that we keep
Well,
getting
today's a
the
great
trade wind.
day.
Go ahead.
Today's a great day as I wanted to learn a little about your background, Vasco, as you've been in the real estate business for over 20 years for real estate, luxury branding, and hospitality. You're currently the CEO of Beach Enclave. It's a luxury private villa resort. And Beach Enclave is redefining the Caribbean beachfront living by offering privacy and seclusion of your own home with all the resort amenities at the tip of your finger. Since founding Beach Enclave in 2013, Vasco raised funding for, design, and developed 3 private villa resorts and is presently managing. Accolades include Best Caribbean Development in 2017 by the International Property Awards, #1 resort in Turks and Caicos by TripAdvisor, and the highest daily rate in Turks and Caicos. Other leader positions in luxury real estate and hospitality include CFO for Grace Bay Resorts and project director for Walter K Development, a Starwood Group subsidiary. So Vasco, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So let's take some time back, Vasco. Where did you grow up?
I'm Portuguese. I grew up in Portugal. Did all my schooling there and most of the university. And then we have this really cool thing in Europe called Erasmus program, where you spend a year of your studies, university studies abroad, anywhere in Europe. So I've done that, and since then I think I never looked back. I've been living abroad since I'm about 20 years.
Not to interrupt you, when you studied abroad, where did you choose?
I went to Belgium, to a
Okay.
little village that has one of the oldest universities in the world, Leuven, which is just a fantastic place, just sort of half an hour from Brussels.
Did you choose that, or did you get picked with that by chance?
I chose it. It was between that and Sweden, but it was I liked the sort of the ethos there. I was studying economics. They have a fantastic economics program there, so it made sense to me.
Amazing. And so how did you get to the Caribbean? Tell us a little about how you went from, college growing up in Portugal to the Caribbean.
Well, it was absolutely by happenstance. I've done a sort of a more traditional career. I did economics, and then I joined this consulting company called McKinsey & Company, sort of a very traditional consulting to boards. So I did a bunch of mergers and acquisitions, company turnarounds in many, many industries, steel, consumer goods, luxury goods, a little bit everywhere, Brazil, Singapore, Europe. And that's what I was doing, and I was enjoying it. When you're a consultant, is fun because you get exposed to a lot of industries, and you can say, I like this one, I don't like this one, so I can move on. And I liked a few. There was nothing that really sort of caught my attention. I went to do my MBA in this French school called INSEAD, not that known here in the US, but very known in Europe, at their Singapore campus. It was paid by my employer at the time, McKinsey. And before I joined them back after the MBA, I just wanted to do something completely different. There was a few options on the table. One of them was to join this restaurant group in Singapore. And the other one was an opportunity to come to the Caribbean to work at Grace Bay Club, owned by Grace Bay Resorts, as a sort of a management consultant for 3 months. And I was not very convinced about it. It's like, I'd never been in the Caribbean before, but they promised me a beachfront bedroom in the 5-star resort while I was here. So I thought that was a difficult one to say no. And so I came here. And so it was absolutely by happenstance. I was in Singapore. The first package of DHL that I sent to myself with my things ended up in Turkey. No one knew where Turks and Caicos was back in 2005. But it was a vibrant place. And I absolutely loved both the real estate and the hospitality component, the sort of the idea building something where people are going to live and experience and have lifestyle experiences. but also the hospitality, the fact that your client, your guest lives in your product. And so every day you start over again. It was really, really exciting. And so after that experience, I sort of found my way back to the Caribbean and to real estate and hospitality.
Okay. And so
I'd love to tell you I had a big plan, but it wasn't.
no, that's even better. So you were, and then you came to Turks and Caicos, and tell us a little about that, because you worked for some amazing companies.
Yeah, I had the chance to work with these, at the time, very small company, very entrepreneurial, Grace Bay Resorts. They were transforming a sort of a Grand Dame boutique resort called Grace Bay Club into a brand by expanding. And so I was able, when I came back to the Caribbean, well, initially I worked with them at that sort of consulting thing. It was very exciting to work with sort of true entrepreneurs and understand how they think. I went back to Europe, and when I came back full time, I came sort of under Starwood Capital Group. They were going to try and do the first Baccarat hotel here. I was in 2007. I think they hired me simply because I knew how to spell Turks and Caicos, honestly. And that was in 2007. Obviously, 2008 happened, and then at that point in time, I joined the Grace Bay Resorts as their CFO. And it's, you know, Turks and Caicos is a very interesting place. It's a very high-end destination by design default. You know, there was no development here until the late 90s. So everything you see here is very modern, very high-end. And it was absolutely a great place to learn how to take a project from start to end. You know, sometimes I think in your career, you get exposed to certain areas of a project. Here, I had to do everything, you know, find the land, capital raising, design the project, you know, deliver the homes, take care of the owners, take care of the guests. So it was a very hands-on experience that I certainly value quite a bit.
It was a huge project too. I remembered when they were launching.
Yep. Yeah.
And then after that, you went to Walter Isaacson, correct?
Waterkey was the project with Starwood Capital Group. It's a private island just outside the main island of Providenciales. It was going to be the first Baccarat that hit the wall in 2008. Still up for grabs, that land. Then went on to Grace Bay Resorts. They were just on that stage of finishing their first project, taking over another property, and they never looked back. Since then, they have quite a few properties here in Turks and Caicos. You know, of interest, you know, we went through a tough time through the crisis, and we had to sort of do what we had to do to survive and remain competitive. That was a great learning. Once we started getting out of the woods, I want to say 2012, 2013, it became evident to me why I had to do something like Beach Enclave. And I'm happy to talk about that now. Or in a little bit.
I'd love to learn. Yeah, because that's great. Yeah, I'd love to learn how you came up with the game plan or strategy, because obviously you came out and built 3 different luxury villas. So love to understand, you know, what transpired into that and made you go on your own.
Well, you know, at the time, there's 2 things happening. One is that if you wanted to own real estate in Turks and Caicos, or the majority of the Caribbean islands, you could either own a condominium, on a condo resorts, an apartment, manager's apartment, or a standalone home. And I couldn't figure out why we couldn't combine both. Why couldn't you have the great things of a resort, which is all the amenities, the services, the home taken care for you. You really just go in and you know, it's ready for you. Combine that with the privacy seclusion of your home. And I wanted to do that. I couldn't convince my at the time employer to do it, so I decided to go on my own. To go on my own, there was a few things that were required. Obviously, you need a large tract of land. You need that privacy. I mean, our goal was to have a home per acre, so you need a lot of frontage for that. So it took a while to find the exact piece of land, which is a funny story in itself. But that was the real estate play. The real estate play was, I believe there's a market out there for people that want to have the resort amenities, but they have their own villa. It was clear on hospitality business at the time. It was a big trend back then about they call it intergenerational traveling, 3 generations getting together in the same home, etc. And I could see the potential of owning your own home in a manager's situation. So that's what we went for. We found this amazing piece of land. Turks and Caicos, or Providenciales, owes its development. The story goes on 6 American families. They were living in Bahamas. Bahamas was getting independence. They sort of got into puddle jumping here, made a deal with the government about in Provo, which at the time there was absolutely nothing safe here. There was just 2 settlements, and they agreed with the government that they would open a highway across the island, an airstrip, and in exchange they could at first pick on the land. And each one of them got a big tract of land, each one of these families. One of these families put it on trust, and it was there from the 70s all the way until the first trustee passed away, unfortunately, and they were obliged to sell it at that point in time. And so I was able to get one of the first large tracts of land, and they chose it at the time in the 70s as they sort of preferred land for a very good reason. It combines beachfront, combines access to a marina nearby, but it combines as well elevation. So you're standing at 35, 40 feet above the water with the beach underneath. It's just gorgeous and very unique in our part of the Caribbean. So we were able to get that land. It was pretty competitive. I was trekking in the Andes in Easter, and I had to put my last and best offer on a Easter Sunday, which I kind of find a way to send the email and so forth. So that was stressful at the time, fun story afterwards.
It must have been an exciting time too.
Very exciting, very exciting. But it was also a time where capital was not yet coming to this part of the world, so we had to do quite a bit of convincing to get the right partners, limited partners to join us. So that was, again, exciting but tough one. But we never looked back. It was a success, the project. We got probably half of our buyers were new buyers to the island. Other half were indeed people that had great apartments, great condominiums in Grace Bay Beach, but they saw they wanted always to have more space, always wanted to have more privacy. And so this combination of the 2 things made a lot of sense. So that was in the real estate, Seth. And then obviously came the point of doing the hospitality. We had to deliver the service that we promised. We thought we were going to outsource it. And again, this is, I love looking at these books about entrepreneurs, and they had this long-term plan. At the age of 5, they knew what they wanted to do. I feel like sometimes there's a lot of things that just happen by happenstance, and you just gotta grab them. We were interviewed quite a few hotel brands, operators, etc. And we couldn't get convinced that any of them was going to do it the way we wanted, which was a very personalized service. That you always get the same butler, you always get the same housekeeper, you always get the same concierge. And so at some point we said, let's just hire the best and do it ourselves. And that's what we've done with the first resort. Again, it was quite.
Did people think you were a little bit crazy?
Yes.
I'm just saying this because, why, because why do you pick a hotel in the Caribbean, because it has like a fancy name, like a Ritz or something.
Yeah.
And so you built it on your own, which is an amazing success story.
Yeah, it was fun. But it's a people industry, hospitality, right? It's all about people and the resources you have. And so it's about, I believe, finding the right people and then giving them as much autonomy as you can within what you believe is the sort of the vision and mission. And we were very lucky to attract outstanding team members.
And how many rooms did your first hotel have?
So, once we do, it's a villa resort. So your bedroom is a villa. It was 9 villas. They were ranging from 4 to 6 bedrooms each.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's we didn't want to do a large scale, lot of homes. We wanted to do something that was very boutique, very private. We then went on to the second project, which again had 9 homes. And now we're adding a few hotel rooms that allows us to have further amenities. And we obviously have Grace Bay, which has another 12 homes.
So you did those 3 projects.
Yeah.
And then tell us about your project, why you thought of taking it to the next level with the Beach Enclave.
In terms of the hotel rooms?
Yes, of everything. It's a bigger project.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, in all these locations, all these 3 locations, we're doing a round 2 of developments. And the reason why we've done this is, you look at the market that wants to come and stay in a villa, either as an owner or as a guest. There's a market that we cater really well, which is, I want everything coming to our villa. And that's what we provide, right? We have a concierge, you can do massage, we have yoga every day, we can do privates, etc. But there's also a sort of another slice of the market that says, yes, I do want to be in the privacy and seclusion of a villa, but I kind of want to be able to go to a bar and have a drink, or go to a restaurant, or send my kids for a burger at lunch. And so for us to get the amenities that we need to fulfill that need, that wanting, we need to have a certain scale, because otherwise your restaurant or your spa are not going to be outstanding, right? If you have very small number of units. And so to do so, we've expanded these two properties. We also wanted to have enough land that these amenities, whilst they're there, they're not next to your villa. They're accessible, but they're not next to your villa because, again, the privacy and seclusion. And so we solved that in two ways. In North Shore, our first property, we bought the land next door, which, by the way, was another one of these big estates. And we've added a collection of smaller homes. We call them beach houses. They are from 2 to 4 bedrooms. So now we have a range of 2-bedroom all the way to 6 bedrooms there. And these are homes that can be rented by a couple, can be rented by a smaller family. So it enlarges our scope, but also allows us to have that scale to have the right amenities there. So we have a really cool beach bar and restaurant there on the making. We're expanding the yoga area there. It's a fantastic program we have there for yoga, water sports, etc. Long Bay, it's a very special place. Long Bay Beach. It has these beautiful trade winds there, and it's an amazing place to learn to do windsurf, kiteboarding. I'm myself learning to do kiteboarding now, because you have that sort of constant wind. The ocean is not that deep. The wind brings you inland, so nothing can go wrong really. And so there we felt that there was a need for not only the same concept of 2 bedrooms all the way to 7-bedroom villas, but also to have a few hotel units that allow us to have a much stronger program in terms of restaurants, in terms of spa. And so to me, it's more of what do I need to justify the right amenities to our owners and guests? You know, how can I have different experiences? You can come as a couple, but you can also come as your full family. That's what led this drive of expanding and sort of enlarging our scope of product.
And you know, you've been in Turks and Caicos. Why haven't you what makes Turks and Caicos so amazing? Like you haven't chose to go to any other Caribbean islands. You just mainly stuck to Turks and Caicos.
Well, we are now. We are actually. I'm flying to Bahamas next week to look at a couple of opportunities.
Okay.
Turks and Caicos, though, has an amazing combination of things, and then, you know, it has an amazing infrastructure. It has U.S. dollar, it has UK law, and above all, there's beautiful beaches that, you know, you can have breakfast in New York and lunch on the beach, and it's very unusual to get the great hair lift, but yet very low density development, fantastic sort of legal setup and quality of the people we have here. I mean, we have, you know, great architects, engineers, attorneys. And I've came to that realization as we go and look at other destinations here in the Caribbean where that infrastructure might not be there. It's a little bit more a pioneer sort of thing. Whereas here in Turks, there was quite a few pioneers ahead of you. There's quite a lot of talent here. So other locations in the Caribbean, we kind of want to bring that with you to be able to do what we're doing.
And so, where do you see the market going now that things are starting to open up with COVID? It's been very hard in the Caribbean. Has Turks and Caicos opened yet?
Turks and Caicos is open. Turks and Caicos did a fantastic job in controlling and then the COVID, obtaining the vaccines. And one remarkable thing here is that we all work together. Even though we're competitors on real estate and hospitality, we work together. The Hotel Association is a very strong element here. So we together bundled up and got the testing system required for American citizens to come down and help quite a bit the government through this process. And so I think, if any, you know, we had, Steph, the best 5 months ever. From January to May, it was the best 5 months we ever had. And I think that's a combination, obviously, of pent-up demand. It's also a combination of some of our neighboring islands are still struggling through this process. There's still quarantines, there's still lockdowns, and we were able to get ahead of the game, and I think we're going to keep a bigger market share. Now, the COVID, I think it emphasized how amazing we have it here. These infrastructure, these amazing villas that us and other players in the market are doing, do allow families to spend here great periods of time. And so we've seen our owners, we've seen guests spending more time here, wanting to find ways to work here, from here. And I think that's going to be an enduring trend for the next few years. I mean, the real estate market has done fantastically well since sort of mid 2020 onwards.
Yeah, I mean, do you see a lot of money being invested in Turks and Caicos right now? And where are the buyers? Where are a lot of your buyers coming from? The U.S., the Europe, Middle East? Where do you see a lot of your buyers coming from?
We're an American market. You know, I always believe it's your markets is where you have direct flights. We're traditionally a Northeast market, but with the last few years, we've seen Southwest, Midwest expanding quite a bit. But even for instance, if you're in Chicago, you don't get a direct flight here. So there's a lot of potential yet. So we see a lot of our market is North American. You know, we do have a fair share of European market here, and South America is actually growing quite a bit for us. But it's primarily a North American market.
Okay. And so, do you see where do you see the next 12 months specifically of Turks and Caicos? Do you see now with COVID a lot of people coming to Turks and Caicos, leaving the US? What's your thoughts on that?
I think, you know, there's two components. I think there's a component of, you know, we don't know yet what's going to happen to this thing about working from home and all that, right? I mean, we're lucky to count amongst our homeowners a lot of influential people in New York in the finance industry, and we're seeing them talking about, look, Labor Day onwards, people got to come back to the office, right? So I think that notion that people are going to work more from home, I don't know the answer. It's going to be a shade of gray somehow between what we experienced and where it was before. I don't know where that shade of gray is going to be, but certainly people realize they can be productive elsewhere and they can be productive here. And so I think there's going to keep being that trend. We've seen an amazing amount of money coming in, and a lot of interest in our homes. We've you know, literally the second phase of Grace Bay, we pre-sold all the homes even before acquiring the land. So there's a lot of demand there, particularly for sort of the high-end product. I think that will continue. You know, what shade of gray, I'm not sure. But also what you see in some of these locations is that this new sort of wave of investment that you're finding, it's helping us build more amenities across the island. I mean, I find you know, if you're going to spend a longer period of time here in Turks and Caicos or in any Caribbean island, the beach is not going to be enough. So what else is there, right? Is there a nice coffee shop? Is there a couple of cool restaurants or boutiques, a place I can go buy flowers? And I see that dynamism, that sort of dynamic getting into Turks and Caicos and to other locations. One of the reasons why we're going to Bahamas, some of these islands are seeing sort of an expansion of these ecosystem around it that you really need for people to come more, to have that another wave of people coming to the islands.
Does Turks and Caicos been doing that, building restaurants and building infrastructure?
Absolutely. You know, you have, you know, it doesn't sound important, but you have a vegetarian restaurant, you have a vegan place, you have a place where you can go and buy flowers. You can, so there's all these little things that you know you have here, and just makes the experience of staying here a longer stay more agreeable.
And so where do you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years as you're expanding the brand? Where are your goals to take the company in the next 5 years?
We're very happy with these 3 locations that we have in Turks and Caicos. Each one of them has a very strong character. You know, there's North Shore, which is a little bit more just admiring the view from the elevated location you are, but also you have the natural park just in front of you, teeming with turtles and all that. Great yoga program. Long Bay, very strong water sports program in terms of kiteboarding and so forth. Grace Bay just being on the best beach, and we have some amazing homes coming our way there. We're very happy with these 3 locations. Maybe we'll do something else here. I don't know, but I think our next wave of growth, once we've solidified, you know, and build our sort of rooster in the team, is to go and expand abroad. I mean, I think what we've done here can be done in pretty much any location where you have wealth coming in and interested in real estate and interested in a very good experience, lifestyle experience on a resort. We've asked our owners and guests where would they think we should be opening places, and they were quite strong about the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, even some locations in Europe. And so I think there's a normal ambition of us to go and expand into these locations.
Do you ever pinch yourself thinking like we're, growing up in Portugal, going to school in Brussels, and now, building such amazing residences and hotel villas in one of the most beautiful islands in the world in Turks and Caicos. But I think it's a great story of just, as you said, going where the ball goes, and then just taking advantage of opportunities, which it seems like you've been doing a great job, and you're building a great product. But I like how when you did the villas, you didn't want to go to a hotel, which most people would have done. It was a huge risk, but you won many awards and so forth. So it just tells the management and execution of your team. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And and if I can correct you there, you say we've been building villas. I always find myself thinking I'm not building villas, I'm building a team. Ultimately I might have great ideas, but it's the butler that is there on the front line with the gas that's really going to make a difference. And we've been very focused on building that team, on training, on capabilities, on empowerment. And I think that's really our strength, the team that we have.
Well, congratulations. I love Turks and Caicos, so I'm hoping that things are great, and during the winter time I could come up and visit you and see all these beautiful projects.
You are more than welcome.
And your story is an amazing, very motivational of your success. So congratulations on what you've built. But I believe you're at the start of many, many large and successful projects in the future.
Appreciate it, Seth.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.